Congressional Budget Office estimate of the two candidates' spending plans. A nonpartisan think tank, the National Taxpayers Union Foundation, has performed analyses and estimates of the two candidates' plans. And I would use this chart I don't think I've shown this chart to the senators before. You find a comparative analysis at the you can also find a comparative analysis at the National Taxpayers Union's website. Let's take a look at Senator McCain's plan first. The National Taxpayers Union, a nonpartisan public policy research organization, NTU, says that Senator McCain's plan would include new spending of $68.5 billion per year. You can find the document again on the NTU's website. Senator McCain has made it clear that he wants to cut spending. That's consistent with his career in the Senate. He's been a spending cutter. Sometimes he's found it to be a very lonely fight. And Senator McCain, despite fighting wasteful spending, has too often lost. Sometimes I've disagreed with his definition of wasteful spending, and obviously other times agreed with it. But one thing is clear: Senator McCain pushes spending cuts, and any honest, nonpartisan observer could not quarrel with that point. Senator McCain's overall economic plan continues his principle of cutting spending and keeping taxes low. Senator Obama's plan on spending is completely different. The National Taxpayers Union counted up 158 new federal spending programs. A conservative estimate of those programs came to $344.6 billion per year. We're talking then, for emphasis, that Obama would spend $344.6 billion per year. And you can look that up also on the NTU website. If my friends on the other side have what they feel is a better estimate of Senator McCain on the one hand and Senator Obama on the other hand of their new spending plans, I'd be glad to take a look at it. But when you look at the NTU analyses, you can see that Senator Obama's spending plans would amount to $276 billion more per year. Conservatively speaking, it means that if elected, President Obama's tax and spending plans, if enacted, would exceed President McCain's plans in deficit impact before the end of the first term. Something has to give. Senator McCain has been willing to put spending cuts on the table. It's been a hallmark of his congressional career. He'd have to find a way to get the Congress to follow, because that's not Congress's inclination to do a lot of spending. It would probably be his greatest challenge, but we know that he's in the fight to restrain spending. As a country, we cannot endure a deficit impact as large as would be projected under Senator Obama's tax plan on the one hand and add to it his spending plan on the other hand. Where will Senator Obama adjust his plan if elected? Will he abandon the tax cuts that he's promised? Will he enlarge the group of Americans he's targeted for tax increases? Will he abandon his ambitious spending plans? Will he cut spending? I think you need to think of the history of past campaigns of what can happen to spending or tax policy enunciated in a campaign but not carried out after that president is elected, as evidenced by President Clinton in 1993 passing the biggest tax increase in the history of the country, and those are Senator Moynihan's words, contrary to the middle-class tax cuts that he promised during the campaign. I hope Senator Obama's not up to that same game, but voters ought to be alerted to it. Ought to be alerted to make sure that President McCain is saying things, that Senator McCain is saying things, and so that if he's president, you got that to measure about. We need to keep candidates intellectually honest, not to promise too much on the campaign trail. When they get sworn in, they don't have so many promises to keep, but we should expect presidents to keep promises. More importantly, a President McCain or a President Obama is likely to be dealing with expanded Democratic majorities on Capitol Hill, and that gets me back to my tax increase thermometer and what it has told us over the past 20 years, that with a unified Democratic government, taxes are likely to go up, as evidenced by the top of the thermometer at the highest level of tax increases. You get that when you have a party and a president that's both under Democratic control, as evidenced by the 20-year history. Spending is not likely to go down because whether Republicans are in control of Congress or Democrats, the inclination of Congress is not to cut spending. That's not right, but that's a fact of life, and a president who wants to veto bills is a damper on that. In closing, I'd like to review the issues that I've raised today very quickly. Many folks are asking about the fiscal impact of the tax plans proposed by Senator McCain and Senator Obama. The Tax Policy Center has produced data looking at proposals against current law. Both candidates implicitly acknowledge current law is not a realistic measure. With that noted, the Tax Policy Center has examined the proposals against more realistic baseline current tax policy. If unspecified revenue raisers are deducted from both plans, the deficit impact of both plans grow. Likewise, we find the gap in deficit impact between the two plans narrow. We cannot ignore the deficit impact of the spending side of each candidate's plan. Senator Obama's plan outspends Senator McCain's plan by over 500%. When Senators McCain and Obama plans are combined, Senator Obama's plan adds more to the deficit. In this troubled time, the federal government has stepped into the breach of the financial sector meltdown. All the more reason we need to closely scrutinize the tax and spending policies of our colleagues, Senator McCain and Obama. Mr. President, out of respect for my colleagues, I had more to say, but it was in a little different version, so I'm going to give up the floor. But is anybody on the record to speak after she's done? If they aren't, could I?
There is no unanimous consent request. The senator from Iowa has 1 minute remaining. Also, I would notify you.
Senator Harkin?
No, I'm sorry. You have 1 minute remaining. There is no unanimous consent request after Senator Stabenow.
How much time did I have left?
You have 1 minute remaining.
I would ask to have the floor for 5 minutes after Senator from Michigan.
Is there objection? So ordered.